All right, welcome back to Turnbull Garage. So this was an unplanned video. I actually am trying to sell a little Sambar, and the guy came to take it for a test drive today, and the signal lights didn't work. And I thought, you know what? This is a good opportunity to show other people. I know there's lots of other people out there that have had issues where their signal lights don't work. My hazards work, but my signal lights don't. And I strongly, I think it's the switch. So I was just getting started on this little project. I thought, you know what? I'm going to get it on video and put it out to you guys. So let's show you what you got to do. So like I say, I'm already into this. First thing you want to do to remove your signal light switch is pop the horn button. You're probably going to want to disconnect your battery because the horn will be going crazy. Anyway, that's held in on this particular one, my 91 Sambar. There's 4 little sort of retaining snaps, if you will, and they go into these little things here. So takes a bit of pressure to pop it off, but once that's done, there you go. This is what you'll see next. Next thing you want to do, there's 3 screws that hold it on the steering wheel, the horn button. There's one there, and one here. Just pop those off. They're a Phillips screw, and then this will come off. There's a little spade connector which connects down here to the horn wire, and that leaves you with the steering wheel. Now, before you pop the steering wheel off, you're going to want to make sure that it's centered so that when you put it back on, let's see, make sure. There we go. So it's perfectly centered. There's a 17 millimeter nut. You want to take that off. There's also a lock washer and a washer. Now to get these off, generally speaking, they're very tight. So what you're going to do is get yourself a little steering wheel puller, a couple of bolts. There's 2 threaded holes right here and here. Just put a couple of bolts in there. Put your steering wheel puller on, and with not a lot of effort, it'll come off. So once that's off, the next thing you want to do is remove your steering column covers. There's, I think, 4 screws. Let's have a look. Yeah, so underneath you'll find 4 screws. 2 are obviously right here, and the other 2 are just behind it. These ones are actually the bolts for the entire steering column, which in actual fact, we may have to lower the steering column down because I think if I remember correctly, you can't get this upper cover off the way it is. But let's just try, see if I can remember or not. All right, so there's your 4 screws. Now this steering column should just pop apart here. There you go, that's the bottom half. And like I say, I'm pretty sure the top half, let's see if I can get this out or not. I think this little rubber thing around the key can come off, and maybe this will slide up, but I'm gonna turn the camera off, see if I can get this. Yeah, I can't get it off. So you're gonna want to, if I remember correctly, you want to remove these 2 bolts here on either side and just loosen these ones off enough that you just need to get it down a little bit so that you can get that cover off. You don't have to remove it all the way, although it doesn't matter if you do. Yeah, so there you go. Top ones are right out. The bottom ones I just loosened off. That's enough. Now we can get this cover off here. There we go. So now you're left with the switch. To get this switch off, there's 1 screw here, 1 screw here, and I think that's it. It's only held on with those 2 screws. And then once you get that off, you can unplug it. I stand corrected. Once you pop those screws off, the wires come down. There's a couple of plugs here to disconnect, and I'll follow this wire to another plug. But anyway, disconnect all these plugs, and then we can pull this off. All right, like I say, there's 2 plugs here, and then this one goes to your factory relay under here. This has got some extra relays because this is a vehicle that was registered in Canada, and this, I believe, would be the relay they're using to run the daytime running lights. Anyway, this should now pop off. And now what we're going to do is take this into the shop and start opening this up. Because what we want to do is there's 5 screws here on this circuit board and 2 or 3, I should say, on this one. And we can take everything off, but we also have this signal selector connected to it. No, that's the wipers. That's got to come out as well. So let's just, let's just start pulling these screws off the back and see what we can do here. All right, so what I did is I pulled the 5 screws out of this circuit board here. There's a piece of sort of mylar plastic that you'll want to put on after. And then 3 screws which hold the switch together. Now this switch comes out as one solid piece, so leave these 2 screws attached. There's 3 to remove just to do this. And now there's a tie wrap here. We gotta cut that tie wrap off of here. Get my side cutters. We'll put a new one on after we're done. And now this circuit card should come right out. Actually, not a circuit card. It's actually just a board with contact. Oh, I think I missed a screw. Yes, I did. There's one more screw under the wire harness here, kind of hidden. All right, this should come out now. I'll get the camera down here so you can see what we're looking at. So once you pop this, what looks like a circuit board off, but there's no circuits, is a bunch of little contacts with dielectric grease on them, and they start to get dirty. And then on the other side, with your signal light in that, there's all the contacts which move up and down on there. There's also up here for your hazard lights. And they're spring loaded, so you want to be very careful you don't have them pop out, because yeah, they will fly. So what I'm going to do is take these and clean each one, and get a rag and get some degreaser, clean all the old dielectric grease off, get some sandpaper, clean those contacts, and put some fresh dielectric grease on, and that should do it. Actually, I'm going to try to show this with one hand. It's not easy, but this, if you have to do this, you'll be able to see what it does, but I'm going to pull this off here. This just comes out. This one just comes off. If I go to turn my headlights off and on, this little bar goes up and down, which makes this little piece go up and down like this, which would ride up and down on the contacts here. So it's all mechanical, and it's pretty ingenious, but there's a lot of little moving parts you want to make sure you don't mix up. So let's get this all cleaned up and get ready to put it back together. To show you these contacts here. There we go. My fingers are all white from the degreaser. But anyway, just show you how these are spring loaded. These little things. They are retained pretty well. You can get them out, but they do seem to want to just stay in there. I think the one I had before was a bit buggered and they would come out. But anyway, these ones are good. So I got these cleaned up. This is all degreased, but now you can see how some of them are fairly clean and others a little bit corroded. So anyway, I'll get some paper and clean those all up now. Okay, so all those contacts are nice and clean and shiny. I also went over and touched up these on here. They're all cleaned up, as well as these ones up here. And this one actually here is your signal light. And you can see some green on there. So I do believe that's why that was a bit of corrosion on there, but that's cleaned up. And yeah, let's get some dielectric grease on here and put it back together. In case you're wondering, this wire here is the horn button, which goes through and makes contact to your steering wheel there. I'll put some grease on that, clean that up as well. But anyway, the grease is all on here. Everything's cleaned up. So it's just a matter now of putting this back on. Like that. And we'll put just the one screw that's underneath the harness. That one goes on its own, and then the other ones all go over top of that plastic sort of mylar sheet, which is right here. So we'll just put this on here, and the screws go through that into the card there. Okay, we'll just check the functionality of this. That's good. Everything seems to work mechanically anyway. So next thing we'll do is we'll put this, I guess you didn't need to take this out, but for ease of working on the thing while the, a fewer wires attached, it's a little easier. This thing, your wiper blade, so your wiper switch, it's got the same idea inside. It's just a simple little sliding contact. So if your wipers aren't working, the switch, that's you'll do the same thing there. Okay, next thing to do is get a new tie wrap. But while I'm here, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. It's pretty greasy and dirty. So I'm going to go around and just give this a bit of a clean, and then we'll put it back in the car. So back inside the vehicle, just slide this over your steering column. We'll put these 2 screws in and then do up our wiring harness. There's your plugs back in, plug back in the relay. These are actually nice. They're a reusable tie wrap, factory tie wrap. So now I'll put the upper steering column cover on. Okay, got the steering column covers on. So a bit of a trick, what I did is actually I put the bottom one on first, and it is held on with these 2 screws, and then maneuver the top one on, and then it's held on with these lower 2 screws. Now that that's in place, I can lift the steering column up and put the 2 bolts in through these holes here and button that up. Okay, I just hooked up the battery. I thought, you know what? Before I get too carried away, let's make sure this actually works. So I'll put the key in here, turn our ignition on, and signal lights. Almost hit the wrong one. There we go. It works. High beam switch works. Headlights work. So there you go. Next thing to do is put the steering wheel back on. So I just slid the steering wheel on. It's pretty obvious. Washer, lock washer, and a nut. And it's a 17 millimeter bolt. So I'll just tighten this up. So with the steering wheel on, the next thing to do is hook up your horn. There's a little spade connector down there. So you're gonna connect this onto there. And then put our 3 screws in that hold this on. All right, the battery's disconnected. I thought this would go easier than that. There we go. So there you go. That's what's involved in fixing your steering column switches, your headlights, high beams, signal lights, your hazards, and your wipers. They're all done with those little contacts that slide. So just clean those up with some dielectric grease, and that'll fix you up. You don't need a lot of tools to do this job. A steering wheel puller, 17 millimeter socket, and a Phillips screwdriver. You're gonna need a tie wrap. And the hardest part of this job really is getting the horn button off. It's actually really tight, and you're gonna have to pry it pretty hard. I don't think you have to worry about breaking anything. Those little snaps, they will go, but yeah. Oh, and disconnect your battery, otherwise your neighbors might not like you. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful. If you haven't had to fix your headlight switch yet, or those switches, it's probably only a matter of time before you do. Pretty common for those to go wonky on you. So yeah, thoughts and comments down below, and think about subscribing. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day.